Let's talk about mining outpost design. A low-tech, low-cost way, but still having high throughput, which is also expandable and blueprintable. The first thing is the train station. The main line is from the south to north, so my smelting area is in the south, and between the deposit and the smelting area you should build the train station, because it's the shortest way. Most people build it parallel to the main line, but there are many complications with it. It's easier when you build them in a right angle like this, because you can expand them to the west when you say, but I need longer trains or something like that. Or you can expand them to the south if you need more waiting bays. This is the first waiting bay here. At the moment it's unused, but if you want to use it, you just put a chain signal somewhere around here. If you want more waiting bays, you can set up this quite easily too, just like this, and connect it to the main network. And if you want even more, you can just expand to the south. Don't forget to connect them. Then I have two stations here. The north station is the normal station for loading the ores. One engine and 4 wagons is the current setup, and the south station is for my personal train, so I can arrive here easily without interfering with the normal business of the station. Then we have the loading mechanism. As you can see, one box for each wagon. Since the steel chests have roughly the same size as the wagons, one chest is enough for them, and also one stack inserter is fast enough to load them. Then we have this setup. Those inserters are fast enough to collect one yellow belt, so they can do 800 items per minute. But they need this setup for it to be able to do it. You need these fast lanes, and if you don't use the full yellow belt, or those two full yellow belts at their maximum capacity, you can get away with the yellow splitter. If you want the maximum capacity, you have to use the blue one here and the blue belts. If the throughput isn't that high, you can get away with the yellow one, and maybe even if it's quite low the throughput, you can get away with red belts here. The ores come from 4 main lines, there and there, and they go through this standard setup, which you may know from the forums, to balance it out quite evenly. You can build it even cheaper if you use only these 3. The rest would be just the belts, and you use those 2 in yellow. So you need at least to balance it kinda acceptable out the 5 splitters and no underground belts. But this is nicer, so, and it just costs some splitters and underground belts in yellow more, so it's not that expensive. Yes, this is the standard setup for me. You can carry 8000 items, and the setup is quite easy too. Go to the ore station, get full, go to the smelting area, drop everything, and come back. Not this crap with one wagon, wait only 10 seconds, and then I wonder why my whole network is filled with trains who are only driving around with a couple of items in them, and the whole network gets clogged up. But still, and it gets clogged up still when you have 2 lanes, one for each direction, and signals everywhere. This is much better and doesn't stress your network that much. And you don't have to fear trains, because they drive so less often. The chance to get hit by them is way too low. This setup can load 4 times 800, so 3200 ores per minute. When you say it's not enough for you, you can increase it. It's quite easily. This is the best setup I found out for the stack inserters, but if you say you want more, you can increase it like this, and if you want even more, you can mirror it to the other side, so you can get even double what this is. This are 1600 and again and twice. So you get 2 full yellow bells, nearly 5000 items on this side, and when you would double it to this, you would nearly get 10,000 items for 2 wagons, which means you can load them at a speed of nearly 5000 items per wagon if you really wanted to. Then we have those 4 main lines. The trick is, since the problem with every deposit is, in the middle you have something like 20,000 per mining drill, and on the outside you have something like 5,000. So they always will deplete faster than in the middle. The trick is to start your belt in the middle of the deposit, as you can see here, and make these wiggly lines to the outside. Depending on how many lines you want to fill, you make more parts of this. I want to fill 4 lines, so I make 4 parts. One here, one there, and one there. If you only want to fill 2 lines, you can split it on this side, one belt, and one belt on the other. Or if you want even less, you can just one wiggly line through the whole deposit. If it's like something like stone, you want only some stone handy and some bricks handy, but you don't need high throughput for that. But the cool thing is with this, when the build starts filling up, those are the ones who are stop at first, while the big mining drills with the high resources are still producing. And also when the bund empties again, they are the first to start and the last to stop, so yes, they have to produce more, so they get faster empty than those which you want, because those don't have high resources anyway. And when you make those snake lines, you don't have to worry much about balancing the belt either, because you always have belts, mining drills on both sides, except when they are already depleted like here, then you don't have them. But you can see it's quite evenly balanced without a single splitter. And as you can see, you don't need underground belts or red belts, blue belts, no underground stuff. It's super cheap. Just yellow belts, but lots of it. Also cheap are the poles. You can get away with the standard small poles. And it's also blueprintable like the train station. You put this down and then you build this over the whole deposit, and you build your wiggly lines with them. As you can see here, I changed my mind here. You should start also, here's the middle of the deposit, roughly. You don't need to be 100% exact. You should also start here and go outwards, because they are faster empty than those. But the problem here was, I can make the connection here very easily like this, and if I would have started here, I have to go like this, and when I arrive here I have to go outside first, then come back, so I took a shortcut there. As you can see, you just need the yellow bells, the cheap poles, and the mining grids. You don't need the mods if you don't have them or don't want them. So it's super cheap, but if you prefer to use other methods like power stations, you can do so too. It's also compatible with the white spacing to these. You can even build them on this. You get the coverage of 16 and here 16, but they don't connect. To achieve that you need to have those, sadly. But you can get away anyway with these. So yeah. And I would recommend to use this white spacing for maximum range, which is better in my opinion, because you need less of the mining drills and they cover more, and it also takes them longer to run out, so you have not to check it every 5 minutes if there are empty ones. And less mining drills means less resources, less mods and less power consumption. So it's also better there. But when there is a point when the resource the deposit shrinks down and you want to finish it off quickly, then you can increase the density of the mining drills. Then you can, I would do it like this, and on the outside put the poles. And this way you have 3 lines of the mining drill and 1 line alternating between the being a belt line or a power line. You can also easily blueprint this. And when you want it to have even more compact, you can build the power poles on the belt, but you have to use the underground belts. So you get it even more compact, but yeah, it's also expensive. So I would recommend the version with the power poles on the outside, which is still good, not as good, because you have 6 lines of mining drills and only 1 line, so it's quite some gain, but I think it's not worth it. But you have to decide for yourself to finish the deposit off. So as you can see, when you want to build one of these, you just need to pack some extra standard belts, the mining drills, the small power poles, and some rails to connect to your rail network. All the other items you only need in very small amounts, so you should be able to build them or have some of them already ready in your inventory, like the chests or the stack inserters. So I hope it helped, and if you have questions or improvements, put them in the comments.